Hey guys, welcome to another episode of The Vinyl Den, your channel for record collecting by record collectors. I'm Nick. Today is part 2 of my RSD 2023 deep dive. There's a bunch of links down below. Make sure you go check them out. There's links for the Vinyl Den Facebook group, for the merch page, for the Spotify and Apple Music weekly playlist that we put together, and also the Patreon page. Make sure you go check all that out. Of course, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give me the old thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I release new episodes. So like I said in the intro, this is part 2 of my deep dive. If you missed the first episode, make sure you go back and check out yesterday's show. I went over the first 20 titles on my list. Today I'm going over the second 20 on there, and this is all in alphabetical order. It's really, I didn't like rank any of these or anything like that. The first one, this is one that I was definitely looking forward to when the list came out. Pearl Jam Giveaway. This is a RSD exclusive double LP, a little over 15,000 copies. This is going to be available. It's going to run you about $46. This was recorded March 5th, 1998 in Melbourne, Australia as part of the Yield Tour. This was never really available. It was very limited released on CD back in 98, but it's never had any kind of like wide release. Of course, the first time it's ever been available on vinyl. You've also got the PIXIES releasing Doolittle live in Brussels 2009. PIXIES released a live album. I think it was last RSD. Sold really well. It's supposed to be really good quality to it. I know a bunch of people absolutely love that album. But this was recorded part of their reunion tour back in 2009. It's a RSD first, so I'm sure it will be reissued down the line. Double LP, 4,000 copies is going to be available. It's on blue vinyl, so I'm sure it's going to look really cool. The PIXIES played the entire Doolittle album, and then they also threw in some B-sides in there, and then their encore is just a greatest hits collection of what they did. I think for the first time ever for Record Store Day, we're getting a Post Malone release. This is Waiting for Never, Hateful. It's a 12-inch single. These are both bonus tracks off his newest album, 12 Carat Toothache. It's a RSD first, 10,000 copies going to be available. It's on red vinyl. We're going to run you $17, which I don't think is a bad price for, even though it is only 2 tracks, but for an RSD release, it's not a bad price, I don't think. Then you get QUEENSRYCHE, Operation Mindcrime 2. I was kind of surprised at the price of this thing, though. This is going to run you about $65 for Record Store Day. It's a RSD first, double LP, 2,500 copies going to be available. This was released in 2006. It was part 2 of Operation Mindcrime that came back out in 88. If anyone out there can tell me why this thing is $65, it's a double LP. Drop me a comment down below if there's something extra that I'm just not seeing in here. I can see like $45 for that, because it is an RSD release, but $65 seems a little pricey. Over the last couple of years, the Ramones have been releasing a bunch of great stuff for RSD. I think they did there was a box set that they released last year. This year, they're releasing Pleasant Dreams, the New York mixes. It's going to run you $25, so it's not. It's definitely one I've got on my must-have list. It's a RSD exclusive, 7,500 copies going to be available. So this has the original 81 mix by Graham Goldman, plus there's 3 bonus tracks that weren't available on the original album. I'm a big Ramones fan, so I'm definitely going to be grabbing that one. You get Ringo Starr, Stop and Smell the Roses also being released. This is a RSD exclusive, double LP, 2,500 copies going to be available. And this is going to run you about $40. This was first released back in 81. There's features from Paul McCartney, Ronnie Wood, Stephen Stills. Plus, there's also 6 additional bonus tracks on this one. One release that I've seen a bunch of people talking about online they're really looking forward to. This is Scott Weiland, 12 Bar Blues. This is the RSD exclusive, double LP, 4,000 copies. This is going to be available. And this is on blue and green vinyl. It's going to run you about $35, which, kind of seems to be the going rate. First time it's ever been available on vinyl. This is Scott's debut solo album from 1998, and it includes 2 bonus tracks and 3 demos. You've also got Soul Asylum MTV Unplugged being released. This is RSD exclusive, double LP, a little over 3,000 copies. This one's going to run you about $37, a little bit more than that Scott Weiland album. This is also the first time this has ever been available on vinyl. This is a classic performance back from 1993, and it includes 4 tracks that weren't part of the broadcast. When the list first came out, I definitely had both of those on my list, but depending on pricing, depending on how much I'm interested in spending on Record Store Day, it depends on whether or not I pick both of those up. So there's an absolute ton of live albums coming out for Record Store Day this year. I think, just off the top of my head, it seems like a lot more than I've ever seen any other year. And there's very few of them I'm actually interested in, but I'm definitely interested in this next one. This is Stevie Nicks' Belladonna Live, 1981. It's a RSD exclusive double LP, 10,000 copies. This is going to be available. It's only about $35. It's never been available on vinyl before. This was recorded December 13th, 1981 at the Fox Wilshire Theater. She does, of course, everything off of Belladonna. She also does a couple of Fleetwood Mac tracks. So I think, like I said, depending on price, depending on how much I end up spending, it might be a decent one that I'm kind of considering picking up. You also got T.REX Rockin' and Rollin' also being released. This is the RSD first. It's 2,000 copies going to be available. It's on pink vinyl. This is one that I'm actually surprised I'm not seeing a whole lot of people talking about. It's going to run you about $30, so it's not a bad price either. This was only released in Japan, and it has never been. It was released in '73. Has never been reissued here in the U.S. So it's it's an 18-track compilation of some of the early T.REX stuff. It might be one worth checking out. The one release that I think is going to be an absolute huge hit for Record Store Day. I'm sure they're going to sell a ton of these. And so this is the one album that I think is really going to drive a lot of people out to Record Store Days. This is Taylor Swift Folklore, the Long Pond Studio Sessions. It's one that I'm definitely going to pick up for Record Store Day. I've said it before, I'm not a huge Taylor Swift fan. I absolutely love Folklore, though. It's probably one of my top 5 albums from the last probably 5 or 6 years. It's going to run you $40. It's a RSD exclusive double LP. Now, when I did my RSD quick take video last week, they hadn't released how many copies of this is going to be available. I kind of talked about, hey, it could be 50 to 100,000 copies of this going to be available. There's 75,000 copies of this going to be available, so it should be pretty widely out there. Should be pretty easy to pick up. It's on gray vinyl. This was recorded during the pandemic, and this was actually part of the documentary that they did on, I think it was Disney Plus that they released it through. Just some great recordings from Folklore. You also got the 1975 release in live with the BBC Philharmonic Orchestra. The 1975, they're the RSD ambassadors here in the U.S. This is going to run you $40. It's an RSD exclusive. It's a double LP, 2,500 copies going to be available. It's on clear vinyl, and this was these are all songs recorded off of their second studio album. I'm not a huge fan of the 1975. Their band, I definitely need to go and check out more of their stuff because I know some people absolutely love them. The next two are definitely ones I'm kind of going back and forth on. The first one I'll probably pick up, maybe. The second one I might kind of wait on. The first one, this is The Cure Show, RSD exclusive. It's a 2LP picture disc. That's what kind of is giving me pause on this one. 10,000 copies going to be available. It's going to run you about $45. I know the last couple of years, The Cure have been releasing a bunch of great stuff on picture disc for RSD. And then several months later, they release a black version. I'm hoping that's what happens with Show because this is a great live show. This was recorded in '92 on their Wish tour. Wish is definitely my favorite album by The Cure. So, it kind of draws me to it. But this was also recorded at the Palace of Auburn Hills here in Michigan, a place I've seen a bunch of concerts at over the years. And it's acoustics wise, it's a great place for a show. So I'm sure this is going to sound absolutely fantastic. And then you've also got the Donna's early singles, 1995 to 1999. It's a RSD first. 1,500 copies is going to be available, so I'm sure this is going to get reissued again down the line. It's on gold vinyl. It's going to run you about $30. It's the first ever compilation from the Donnas from their early years. Most of this is when they were on Lookout Records. Should be a pretty good one. It's got 14 non-LP tracks. This is one that I'm going to kind of wait on, read some reviews before I decide to pick it up. The next two are both albums I've got on my must-have list, but I'm surprised more people aren't talking about it online. The first one, this is Rolling Stones' Beggar's Banquet. It's a RSD exclusive. 9,000 copies is going to be available. Beggar's Banquet, I love this album. It's definitely one of my favorite Rolling Stones albums, especially from that late 60s, early 70s period. It's on blue, black, gray, and white swirl vinyl. I'm sure it's going to look pretty sweet. It's going to run you about $33. And then the next one is one that, like I said, I haven't heard anyone talking about. This is the Temptations All Directions. It's an RSD first. 3,000 copies is going to be available. I'm sure this is going to get reissued again down the line. It's going to run you about $26, so not a bad price either. This is best known for Papa Was a Rolling Stone, but it's an incredible album from beginning to end if you're unfamiliar with it. And this is the first time it's been reissued here in the U.S. Another one that I think is kind of flying under the radar for Record Store Day is the Verve Pipe Villains. This is a RSD first. 2,000 copies is going to be available. It's going to run you about $35. This is their major label debut from 1996. The Freshman was like the big hit off this. I'm sure everyone out there probably remembers that one track. But this is a really good album. There's a lot more on there than that one track. It's definitely worth checking out. And then you've got Tori Amos, Little Earthquakes, the B-sides. This is a RSD exclusive. 10,000 copies going to be available. It's going to run you about $25. This is all B-sides and rarities from her debut solo album back in, I think it was 92 when that came out, when Little Earthquakes came out. I'm not a huge Tori fan, but Little Earthquakes is a fantastic album, so it's definitely one I'll at least read some reviews and see what other people are thinking about it. And then, of course, you got Van Halen finally releasing on vinyl live right here, right now. This is a RSD exclusive 4LP set. 7,500 copies is going to be available. I think this is one that it might be kind of hard to find. It might not be. Well, you definitely have to see come Record Store Day how fast these sell. It's the first time it's ever been available on vinyl. This has 3 additional tracks that weren't on the CD release. This thing's going to run you around $100, though, so it's... I was really kind of hoping it was going to be in that like $60 to $65 range. It's definitely a little more palatable for me to pick it up at that price. At $100 though, if it's ended up being a little bit more than that, man, it's really kind of hard for me to drop that kind of money when I can pick it up on CD for less than $10 if you look on Amazon. I think it was like $10 or $11 on Amazon. And then the last one I got on my list, this is Warren Zevon, The Wind. This is an album that was released, I think it was about a month before he died back in 2003. This is a RSD first. 2,500 copies is going to be available. It's $35. This is a great album if you're unfamiliar with Warren Zevon. I think this album is a great entry point into his music if you want to check him out. There's a lot of great guest appearances on here. You got Bruce Springsteen, Jackson Browne, Tom Petty, Joe Walsh. Just the list goes on and on. Like I said, if you're unfamiliar with it, make sure you check it out. Well, that's all I got for you today, guys. Thanks for checking the show out. That was part 2 of my Record Store Day deep dive. If you missed part 1, make sure you go back and check it out. Hopefully I didn't go over those too fast. I don't want to ramble on and have this be like a 20 or 25 minute video. So, but drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you're looking forward to. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give me the old thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below. That's all I got. Until next time, keep on spinning. Peace.